Hi there everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy that you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today we have a fabulous autumn-themed collection from our friends at 49 and Market called In the Leaves. Now this set is really big. It is loaded with everything you need for card making, scrapbooking, mini albums, and so much more. You'll have pattern papers, you'll have ephemera, washi motifs, chipboard stickers and rub-ons. There's even a beautiful collage stamp. As you can see, we have a lot to explore today, so come play with us. Let's take a closer look at all of the fabulous things we have to play with today. First, let's start with our 12 by 12 paper pack. So this has 6 double-sided sheets of paper plus 2 sheets of laser cut embellishments, which you can see here. We'll take a closer look in a second. And you can see all of the designs here on the front of the package, but let me just flip through these really quickly. True to 49 and Market style, they are beautifully done. All of the illustrations and the artwork on here are just stunning. And of course, everything is so thoughtfully put together so that it's really easy to coordinate and use together to make really gorgeous designs. Okay, so those are the patterned papers. Now here's one that I wanted to point out to you in particular because this can be used as an all-over sheet, of course. It can also be cut apart so that you can use the segments. Now also in here, this is just one of the 2 sheets of laser cut embellishments that you'll have in here. So the other sheet has some different designs too, but you can see how many you're getting in here. The level of detail is just astonishing. And they all pop out really easily from the backing sheet, and they're quite simple to put together and use. So that's our 12 by 12 set of papers. Now we also have a smaller collection. This is the 6 by 8 inch collection pack. And in here you're going to have 36 sheets, 2 each of 16 double-sided pattern papers, and 2 each of 2 laser cut element sheets. So I'm just going to flip through these very quickly, not the whole stack because there's quite a lot, but you can see everything is scaled down so that you have really beautiful petite designs. These work great for tag art, for cards, also for any of the surfaces that you might be doing. And again in here, let's see if I can flip toward the back here. You can see they also have included some sheets that you can simply cut apart and have some really nice card focals or journaling sentiments for your scrapbooking too. And again, this also has those laser cut embellishments, and as you can see, there's just a lot of gorgeous detail in here too. So for other embellishments, we are truly spoiled for choice. So let me bring in some of our other embellishment options that we can play with today. Now these are washi sheets. Now this set has 2 sheets of washi. So I'm going to flip this over and we can take a look. You've got one piece that is an entire sheet of washi, which of course you can cut apart to use in pieces. And then you have a second sheet, and all of these are die cut. So then you can just peel them off, layer them onto your pattern paper or solid cardstock, and you've got some really beautiful texture on there. Okay, speaking of texture, we also have a sheet, or a package, excuse me, of rub-ons. Now you guys know that I love rub-ons, so I was really excited for this package. In here you've got 6 sheets of absolutely gorgeous autumn designs. Of course, you've also got sentiments in here too. Really stunning, so easy to work with. They go on beautifully, and of course you've got that little applicator in there as well. So you know we're definitely going to be using these in today's card projects. Okay, we've got stickers too, so let me grab those. 2 different kinds, both of which we love. Of course, we've got a big sheet of chipboard stickers. So these are really nice, thick, sturdy weight, beautiful, smooth finish on here. And of course, you can see we've got lots of different sentiments as well as images on here. And then there are also epoxy coated stickers, and these will give a different look and coordinate, of course, beautifully. So here we've got some larger elements, and these are a little bit more petite. Of course, you've also got some little bubbles and trinkets on here too, just for sweet little accents on there. Now for additional texture, we've got these PVC embellishments, and I want to show you some of these. Got a huge pile of things over here to the side. So you can see they are clear, they are lightweight, they just add a really beautiful look to your project. So I'm going to bring in a sheet of that 6" by 8" paper and just show you if I'm layering that sweet little butterfly or maybe some of the other foliage on here, you can see just how beautifully this coordinates. Okay, for more embellishments, not done yet, we've also got a pack of 68 mix and match die cut pieces. This package is loaded, and I've just pulled out a couple of the elements, so little tags. You have quite a few that look like they're sort of torn out, which is a really fun look. Sentiments, of course, more of those butterflies. You've got some fun background elements that you can do some collage work with as well. Okay, then last but definitely not least, one thing I'm very excited about. We love stamps here, so I'm super pleased to say that we've got a gorgeous collage element stamp set here. And this is all one piece. You can use it as a background or of course isolate out different portions of this. Lots that you can do with this stamp. It measures 5.5 by 3 3/4, so it's a great size for cards or scrapbook pages. Okay, so now that we've seen this gorgeous and very large collection, let's take a look at some projects. Let's start with this collage inspired card. Now here I've covered the card front with this faux texture pattern paper. This is from the 12 by 12 collection. I trimmed down the botanical collage paper to be slightly smaller than the card front. Then both of those pieces are inked with Thundercloud ink. Now this is a great ink for the colors in this paper collection. It's a really nice soft gray, and it adds a touch of definition, as you can see here, without being as stark as maybe a really dark chocolate brown or black. So a nice soft shade that really works nicely with the papers in this collection. Then I've placed some of the washi stickers, just top and bottom here on the card front, and overlapped with some of the die cuts. Now, the Remember Today is a die cut sentiment. I popped that up on some foam tape. And then the ticket that you see tucked behind here is also a die cut. I've got a chipboard sticker for that frame, and then the 2 butterflies are also chipboard. And we have a little laser cut paper bow, which you'll see quite a lot of those in the cards that I'm working with today. Then for the card inside, we have this large background piece. Now this is one of the die cuts in the pack, so you can see the variety that you have in this set. There's also, of course, the frame here as well as the 2 sentiments. So all of these are die cuts. And of course, I've got another little bow on here. These are great if you want to add bows on the inside of your card without maybe having the bulk or the bump of real ribbon or twine. Now you'll notice these little acorns here. These are also washi pieces, as is the little acorn here on the front of the card. They have been colored with dye inks. So normally when you get your washi pieces, here's one of the 2 sheets, and you'll notice that they are all kind of a dark gray here. I've got one that's been colored already, and this one I just colored a few minutes ago, and it is already dry. But let's take a look at how to do this. So here I'm just going to, I'll go down to this little oak leaf here and color this. And for coloring both the acorns and the leaf today, I'll be working with the Cinnamon Swirl. So this, like our Thundercloud, these are dye-based inks from Hunky Dory. It's part of their Prism line. And these are ink pads that I use pretty often in my webisode work. They're just a great quality ink, really good price point as well. You can get a lot of beautiful colors for not very much money, which is really nice. Now I've got a water brush. You can also use a paintbrush if you have one. I've got a cup of water off to the side as well. And I'm working onto my craft mat. Now I'm just going to leave the leaf on this backing sheet. You'll notice I removed all of the sort of outside frame just so that I could pull off some of these die cut washi pieces a little bit more easily. So I'm going to take my ink and just press a bit of it right onto my craft mat. I'm going to get my water brush a little watery and not too much water. You don't want to overdo it. And then just kind of add that into my little puddle. and then just come in and gently fill in the outline. This is so easy. Such a great way to personalize these pieces. Now the washi is a non-porous surface, which means that you do want to let this air dry. Now if I wanted to make this a darker color, what I would do is let this air dry and then come back and add a little bit more of that same ink, or perhaps another color too. You could do that as well. You might wonder if you can do some heat setting to speed up that dry time. Quite frankly, I didn't find that it was necessary. These did dry fairly quickly, and I would just suggest maybe leave off the heat tool, especially with these plastic and non-porous surfaces. So let it air dry just a couple of minutes, won't take long, and then you can put it to use on your card as I've done here. So again, I've got one little acorn down here that was colored with a cinnamon swirl, as were these two little acorns up here as well. Super simple and a great way to personalize those. Now here's another card that I have with the washi pieces. This time I've just used a paper trimmer to trim away a portion of that large overall washi sheet. And I placed it just on the front of my card. Now this one here is from the border of the 12 by 12 paper pack. So all of the 12 by 12 papers, they will have a piece that's got like the barcode on it. If you flip it over, you will have a really nice border that has either a pattern, or it might have some words. It might be a really beautiful sort of mosaic tile like we've got on here. Well, that's what I've used to create that sort of separation between the washi and then this background paper on here. Now this piece that says Forever, this is also from the 12 by 12 paper pack, and it's that sheet that you have, I just showed it a second ago, it has all of these different elements that you could use as the background sheet if you wanted to. You can also trim these apart. You could trim them in groupings or trim them out separately. And I just use my paper trimmer to cut out this one that says Forever on it. And that just makes a really nice and quite simple card focal area as well. So I inked this with a Thundercloud ink and then popped it onto the front of my card with some foam tape. Now the card focal here is a chipboard sticker, and I love this. It's so elegant, really beautiful watercolor effect, but also quite quick and easy to simply pop on the front of the card and have a really nice look. Of course, I've got another one of those laser cut paper ribbons. I just love those. Also a couple of epoxy stickers here. I've got a little butterfly here as well. Now on the card inside, you have a collage of some of that beautiful pattern paper. Here again is another one of those borders, taking advantage of that. Here's a little bit more of that black and white washi tape. We've got an easy die cut frame here, another little epoxy sticker. Then on the inside here, I have a rub-on sentiment. This is a super fun and easy layering technique. So let's take a look at how to do that. Rub-ons are a staple part of many collections from 49 and Market, and I absolutely adore them. They're fabulous for adding just a little bit of texture and dimension to your cards. Now, if you remember using rub-ons when you were little, you will notice that not only are these a lot more sophisticated in design, they're also a lot easier to use and super simple just to pop even inside one of these frames as your sentiment. So we have not only loads of beautiful kind of all over patterns, you've got some splotches, you've got some beautiful foliage elements, and of course also some words and sentiments too. So let's take a look at how to do this. So I kind of scoop all of these up and move them to one side. Easier said than done. And I'll bring in one of these smaller pieces that I just cut apart. This is from the 6x8 collection. And grab one of the rub-ons. Now I've trimmed this out from the main sheet, and you'll notice that you've got this backing piece on here. So you can just pull this off. It's a little bit sticky, which is also nice because when you place this down, it'll kind of cling to your background paper. So it makes it just a little bit easier. It's not sliding all over the place. Okay, so I'm just going to press this down. Now also inside the pack, you've got one of these little applicator tools. And this is what you need to use to burnish this piece down. Okay, so you can go at it from the side and then just kind of make sure that you're getting all of the little detail areas, some of those little fine bits. Really doesn't take very long to do. Okay, so make sure I got this piece here. And then what you can do is just kind of gently lift off one corner and then gently and slowly pull back. This way you can see if you still have any little pieces that are still on your plastic liner, you can just place that back down and continue to burnish with that tool. But I think I've pretty much got it. And there we go. Beautiful, easy to do. And again, you can also layer on top of this if you wanted to. You could also add a word on top. You can add another sentiment or another image as well. So let me show you an example of that layering. With this card, I've used the postcard, just tilted it on its side. This is one of the die cuts, and then I've applied this floral rub-on right here as my card focal. Now the hello and autumn, these are also two separate rub-ons. You'll notice that the hello is slightly overlapping the focal foliage element. So you can overlap one rub-on on top of another one if you want to, which is really great, and it allows you to create even more layers and depth on here. Super simple to do. Now I've inked around the outside edge of this postcard die cut, of course with my thundercloud, and then added this to the card front with some foam tape. So again, a little bit more dimension on here. Now, if I tilt this card a little bit, I think you can see the shine here, and maybe here, and maybe a little bit here as well. I'll lift this up just gently. These are some of the PVC Foliage Accents. I absolutely adore these. They're so easy to add to a pattern design like this background paper to create some more depth and color, and of course, some really nice texture. So I have them here on this paper from the 6x8 collection. Then for my card inside, I've got some more pattern paper, also from the 6x8 set, plus another bit of the foliage that you can see here. We've got some rub-ons as well. Here's one of those splotches, and then here's a sentiment. Here's another sentiment up here too on one of the tag die cuts. I have some epoxy stickers here as well, just to accent and provide a little bit more shine and depth on here. So one question that you might have with these PVC accents is how to glue them down. So let me scoot away this card and we can take another look at these. So you can see they're quite sturdy, really easy to use. I'm going to bring in again one of these 6x8 pieces, and this is where you can really start to play with accenting and coordinating some of the printed elements on your background sheet. Now there's foliage, there are also little butterflies here too. Now there are a couple of different ways that you can glue these down or adhere them down. One way I like to do this is with the Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue. And it's nice because it's got this really fine tip on here. If I use it sparingly, then it won't show through. So let me show you here. I've just flipped over this bit of foliage and I'm going to apply just a little bit of the glue, mostly into the areas where there is pattern on it. So there will be some areas that are totally clear and some, when you flip it over, that have a lot of that dark color on here. And then just pop this down. A little bit of adhesive will do the trick. You don't need to have a whole lot. You don't want it sort of squashing out from underneath. So let's take this butterfly and again, just kind of a little bit, maybe around the edges, just where that color is darkest. And this is a white glue that will dry clear. So no worries about that. This also gives you the chance to kind of scoot them around if you need to a little bit, but there you can see they work beautifully. Now on darker paper, let me bring in another piece here. These two elements, this is what I mean by a portion of the PVC piece that has a lot of clear plastic showing through here. So I do not want to put the glue right there. Instead, I'm going to flip this over and I can really see on here where the darker color will be. Okay, so I'll just pop this down here. Again, just a little bit is all you need. And then position this down. And that glue will dry clear, and I'm able to have a beautiful accent on here without it showing through. So whether you're working on light or dark paper or cardstock, you have plenty of options. So that would be my go-to, is that Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue. Okay, so I have one more card that I want to show you for right now. This is also using a lot of the foliage. You can see here, in fact, it's most of my card focal, and I have them kind of tucked into the frame here. And this frame that you can see right here is all one piece. That's also from the 6x8 set. Now in this area in the middle of the card, this has been created with the Collage Stamp. And this is again a beautiful combination of some of those dye inks that we've been looking at, misted just a little bit to give kind of a watercolor effect. Super simple to do and a great way to coordinate with that beautiful background paper. So let me grab my Misty and we'll start stamping. So I have my Misty ready to go. I've got my stamp on one side. I've got this piece of collage paper held down with magnets on the other side. And I've got my ink pad set out too. So I'm going to do kind of a watercolor effect here on this collage paper. And I'm using a couple of different colors of ink. So these three that you see here, I've got olive green, spring meadow, and then of course that beautiful thundercloud. I also have my water mister. This is going to give me a nice soft collage look. And then after I do a couple of rounds, probably of stamping with those colors, I'm going to come in with the slate gray. So I've got this off to one side, ready to go as well. I'm going to move my mister to one side as well, and then also my ink pads. I'm going to begin with the lightest of the ink pad colors, and this is the olive green. And I'm just going to apply the ink all over the stamp. And these are all dye inks, remember, so they are going to interact with water really nicely. Then I'm going to come back with my second color, which is the spring meadow, and just kind of blot that on here and there. Okay, then I'll come back with my thundercloud, and maybe especially around the edges, just kind of tap this in here. Okay, I've got all of those inks all on my one stamp. Now I need to bring in my mister and just give a couple of spritzes of water. You don't want to flood it, but you do want enough so that that water will be moving. Okay, and then go ahead and close up your stamp positioner. Give a nice firm press all the way around. It's a fairly large collage stamp, so you do want to give yourself a little bit of time. Make sure you get all of those areas in there. And then open this up and you can see a beautiful soft collage effect. Now, if you want to leave this as is, that's going to look beautiful. The other thing you can do, just kind of dab off some of the excess water on here and then come back in with the slate gray. Now this, if you add this on here, is going to just accent and highlight some of the details of that stamp. So no misting for this part of the process. Then go ahead and close this up too, just gently. Close this up and press around the edges. And there you can see you've got a little bit more definition. It's a little bit darker. It still allows some of that beautiful soft green, that watercolor effect to shine through there. Now, if you wanted to, you could, of course, ink this up again and do another pass as well. I think I quite like the way this looks, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it as is and then just let this dry. Okay, so I'm going to set this to one side. We'll take another look and go back to our card design that we saw before. I'm going to set my Misty over carefully here. And you can see it's just a really nice soft background on here. Really subtle, coordinates nicely with the background paper too. Then for the card inside, I've got some more of that foliage. I've also got an epoxy sticker here. I've got one here. Got one here underneath this die cut sentiment as well. So lots of really fun elements all pulling together. I have one more card projects to show you today. And this one, because truly I couldn't stop working with this collection. I was working right up until I started filming. I was having so much fun with it. Now this is also using the stamp, and in this case I just used the slate gray right onto that collage background paper. So no misting, no color combinations, just that beautiful collage stamp doing its magic. Now on top I've got some of those PVC butterflies just glued down the way we saw before with that white glue. Now the border is printed onto the edge of the 12 by 12 pattern paper, so I didn't even have to do any layering there. But I do have a little collage accent up here in the corner with some die cuts and that laser cut bow. Now if you're trying to put this into an envelope, you may want to angle the bow a little bit more before you glue that down, or trim off a portion of that too. Then on the card inside, you can see I've got some more of that gorgeous pattern paper, a focal piece from the 6x8 set that says thank you on it. Got some more faux ribbon on here and a couple more foliage pieces top and bottom. So that is our last card design for today, and wow, I think you can just see how many different techniques you can do with the beautiful supplies in this collection today from our friends at 49 and Market. And I just have to say a big thank you to 49 and Market. For me, it's always such a pleasure to use their products. And a big thank you to you for joining me today for Saturday with Sara. We're really glad that you're here, and we're so happy that you're part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. Be sure to see the money saver on the right side of your screen at paperwishes.com.